any lips.
The Lotus Jawns going through the journey strong. Life's a hustle and a bustle. We'll be with you all along. The Lotus Jawns, yeah, sometimes we get it wrong. That's the beauty and a lesson. Keep it going, you belong. See, you are a powerful Jawn. You are a powerful Jawn.
Hey, welcome to the Lotus
Hi.
Jawns.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Good. Hi, Jawns.
See?
We're coming at you live from our homes.
And from other John's homes sometimes.
Another Jawns. We hope that you all are doing well. We're going to start off today, like we always do in usual Lotus Jawn fashion, with our affirmation. And yes, we know it's a really tough time right now in Philadelphia, and we want to shed some light on that. And it's definitely some vibes up in there in our affirmation today. So, like we always do, let's start off with a deep breath.
Yes.
Though my heart may be heavy from the current climate,
I trust that my future is in my hands and that my voice is powerful.
And that I can be a voice of social change.
I am
a powerful
a powerful John.
All right, so let's kick this thing off. So we're going to start off with the Lotus Pad. We're going to Lotus Pad. It's John's here talking to y'all.
Live from the Lotus Pad.
We're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna have some advice from me, the creative John, some advice from the mom John, and some advice from a medical John. So we're gonna trying out some new things today. So I guess who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Yes, mom John.
Since she's pointing in the direction of the house that I may be in. Well, this week I realized that this is a tip for the other mom Johns out there, or whoever is at home taking care of the children for this time, or just pretty much all the caretakers of the children at this time. This week I realized that yes, I tried to, have a structure for the way we do our day, because you have to have some order to your day. What I realized this week is that I still needed to be flexible. I was getting so caught up in our schedules and getting up and having to go outside and doing this and doing that. It was actually kicking my butt the last 2 weeks. And I think we'll talk more about that, or how I plan to revamp that later on in the show. But this week, one of the best things I could have done as a parent for my children is be more flexible. We got up late a few times this week, and instead of trying to squeeze everything in and trying to stick to the schedule so they wouldn't be confused, what ended up happening was that they actually needed me to be more flexible, meaning we ended up having to skip a morning meeting class because we did need to go outside, and we didn't have time to do that if we just went straight from breakfast in the class, and they were better for it. Had I just try to rush them along within our schedule, I think that overall their day would have been a little more on the shifty side. I feel like they performed way better in class and were able to attend, focus and really participate and be more present, because they got exactly what they need, which was to not rush into that right away. I mean, I do value education. I want them to be in school on time every day, but however, this week, even though I know that looks good on paper, it really wasn't best for my family. So I really needed to be flexible for them. So all the structure and all the schedules are good, but I had to remind myself to be flexible, and I want to remind all the rest of the caregivers to be flexible and not beat yourself up when things don't really go as planned, because it's a lot going on here in Philly. It's a lot going on nationwide, honestly. And then, all around, we're still in a pandemic. I know we're trying to operate as if this is all normal, and things really aren't as normal as we're just not. It's not normal. So that was my mom John spiel. I know flexibility is something that we need right now with ourselves and with our children, especially with the children.
Yeah, I think everybody is going through that right now. Just learning that we all need to be a little more flexible because times are crazy right now, and nobody knows what's going on. So it is a good idea, Mom John, to kind of just go with the flow. You see Millie back there, Milky stretching.
Yeah, she's stretching her legs and being flexible.
Yeah, it is. That's some good tips because who knows what's going on right now, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
doing the best we can.
For the most part, we everybody to just kind of float along and be okay. That all of a sudden you're in school, you're working from home, and we've really been expecting the children for the most part to be able to handle this in a way that I feel like it's at times a little bit unfair. So I appreciate the fact that as a mom, John, you're like, I understand that there's a structure in school and life, but giving your children that space as well as yourself to say, hey, we need a little bit of wiggle room to not be okay this week in the way that the structure and function of, society and the school system expects. And I think
switch it up.
Room for that also is a valuable lesson even for your children, and that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not always fit into the box that life expects of you. So, right on, Mom John. Excellent. Yes. Sometimes you gotta buck the system a little bit to make sure that you can still function within it. Yeah.
So does that mean you're next, Medical John, or is it the Creative John who's going next?
All right. Well, me as a creative John, I'm giving tips for all my creative Johns out there. My musicians, my artists, my painters, all that stuff. If you're doing anything creative, I got you. So one thing that we all know about being creative is sometimes it's hard to stay creative, especially in funks like this where the weather is bad. It's protesting, it's rioting, it's looting going on in your city. You might not be in the best of moods, but sometimes that doesn't mean that like you have to stop creating. Sometimes these can be the best times to create because you're so raw and vulnerable right now. You can really get that out on paper. So my tips on staying creative right now is sometimes like what I do is when I find myself in a funk, I rededicate myself to my craft. So sometimes it could be like a little ceremony you have. It could just be jotting down a note, and it could just be a promise to yourself, like, this is what I do. This is what I'm dedicating my life to. Even though it might not be my way of making money right now, it is something that is very important to me. And it's crucial that I express myself in this way during my lifetime. And I dedicate myself to that. So just like refreshing your dedication to your craft is a good way to stay creative because you're just re-acknowledging that this is what I want to do. And then after you do that, I would suggest you schedule some time. Schedule some time to sit down with yourself and to create, do what you do. Schedule, even if it's just like 15 minutes, half an hour or an hour, schedule out that time. And it could be a week from now. It could be a month from now. Just make that time super special and you're building yourself up to that. And to just sit down with yourself and create what you need. And also when you do get that time, my third tip is to set a mood. Like whether it's lighting some candles, playing some music, maybe getting a glass of wine. If you do drink alcohol, like just set the mood for yourself and make it really comfortable and just really soothing to kind of guide you into getting the thoughts from the heavens and putting them down on to your paper. And my last tip is I just learned about this. It's called The Artist's Way, actually. It's a book called The Artist's Way. And the author talks about, I forget her name, but she talks about this activity you can do every day called morning pages. And what it is basically 3 pages of you free writing, like just brain dumping anything onto the paper. And it kind of clears your mind and gets all the junk that's been holding you back from being creative. It kind of lets it get all out of you. And it's like, you don't no longer have any excuses. You got it all out. And it's like, now it's time for you to start with this fresh brain. And this is something that I've been doing for the past couple of months. Like, I don't faithfully do it every day, but I do try to journal every day. And I just brain dump. and it makes me feel kind of refreshed. And when I go sit down to create and write a song, I'm not worried about like how many oranges do I need, or what do I need to buy from the store, or anything like that. I'm just like fresh and I'm clean and I'm ready to create. So I hope those tips help you out with staying creative. And like I always tell my friends who are in this world, it's okay to not create. It's okay to take some time to yourself and regroup. And if you're not creating right now, don't beat yourself up. But also, if you do feel the urge, take that urge and do it. But also, just be gentle with yourself and try to find some balance as much as possible. So that's it from the Creative Jawns to my Creative Jawns.
I like that mind dump.
Yeah, brain dump is good for you.
Awesome. That was good.
Now to the
medical
So it's kind of funny, as I was listening to the two of you, I was initially going to lead with something that was different. I was like, what can I pour into, the Jawns everywhere, as far as a medical informative gift, or, a modality. And the first thing that came across my mind was uterine massage. But from listening to the excitement that's been currently happening in the city of Philadelphia and across the nation, as well as hearing the Mom Jawn mention her having to be a little bit more flexible in her schedule, and even the Creative Jawn mentioning ways and modalities that you can kind of be gentle with yourself as you're being creative. I think the best thing that I can say in this moment is looking at the things that have happened within the city. Is my medical Jawn advice at this point is for those of you that may be experiencing, some layers of crisis. If you're feeling like you are overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you need somebody to talk to, if you're feeling like the weight of COVID and the current climate is weighing heavy on you, there are several things that you can do as an individual to work on helping your mental health. One, finding a creative idea, to kind of outpour that energy into, be it journaling, be it DIYing, or be it reaching out to your family and friends and telling them that, hey, you need an adjustment in your current schedule because it's not working with you. The larger thing that I would like to add is that there are resources for you. There are apps that you can log into where you can speak with somebody about how you feel. And there's also a national hotline that you can call if you feel like you're in crisis, or if you feel like you know somebody who's going through a crisis. That number is 1-800-662-HELP. I feel like within this sequence too, we'll add something in the bottom of this. Either I'll type it in the comment sections for information that you can access if you know someone who's going through a mental health emergency, or if you yourself are experiencing that. I will say from being in a mental health environment as a registered nurse, and from encountering things of that nature, there are definitely things that you can do to walk yourself through some initial aspects or feelings of crisis. One, I'll say reach out to somebody and let them know that you aren't feeling your 100% self, because having a support system is the number one thing that you can do. If you are watching this right now and you feel like you're going through something, don't be afraid to reach out to me or any one of us to let us know. And hopefully we can direct you to the right resources. Journaling is a great aspect. Personally, when I feel overwhelmed, aromatherapy is a great thing. Lavender is great. Doing self-care things that can be as simple as a hand massage can kind of help level you out. Creating a safe space where you can listen to some soft music, or kind of separating yourself so that you can calm down and relax if you have that as an opportunity. So that's going to be the Medical Jawns tidbit. If right now you're in the midst of a mental health crisis, resources are here for you. And that hotline number, I'm going to write down there.
You said it's
1-800-662-HELP.
1-800-662-HELP. Okay.
Let me double check. Yes, 1-800-662-HELP.
Yeah, thanks, Medical Jawn. Yeah, mental health is really important, especially right now. It's like the baseline of everything. You got to take care of yourself right now to be able to deal with all the new stuff coming at you. It's just constantly new, either good things, bad things, chaotic things, just constantly coming at you. And you gotta be strong for that. So definitely thank you, Medical Jawn. And if anybody needs help out there, we're all here for you. Like, even though we may seem far away, we're only a message away. Oh, Nicole Chandler, my mom. She said connecting with nature. Yeah, that is a good way. I like to go
Definitely.
for hikes and stuff like that. When I'm feeling, honestly, when I'm feeling depressed, I like to go out in nature and I like to go for hikes. It's so soothing and it just brings me back to like this peaceful state. So yes, mom. The other mom, John,
The other mom.
Nicole, thank
Yes.
you for that tip.
That is
So
actually
now,
one of the most important parts of our day, and that's exact. So when we were talking about being flexible earlier, I actually tried to skip that, and when I turned around and looked at what was going on, I was like, "Oh no, we gonna go out and connect with some nature before we go to school." So
right?
I know
Yeah,
that was like kind of random, but
yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's important, 100%. Because I realize now, even looking at like work in general, because the city's been shut down, a lot of those resources that you will go to, all right, maybe you go to the park, maybe you go to after school program. Those things are shut down. And for people who are also like if you've been going through, groups to deal with substance abuse, if you've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous, etc., a lot of those programs have also been shut down because of social distancing.
hey,
There's a lot of resources that people may not be able to access. So, that sense of community where you might have been able to lean on before in some aspects might be missing. So, yes, definitely finding other avenues to go walk, reach out to a friend, make a phone call, um, walk in the rain. It's great.
yeah. So now this takes us into our next segment, which is kind of like it's kind of easing into it anyway. Our segment called "Catch Up on Everything," and just so that you know what "catch up on everything" means, we're all from Philly. We like salt, pepper, and ketchup on everything, and because we
except
can't
for
call
her,
it salt, pepper,
I
and
like
ketchup on
barbecue
except
everything,
sauce.
for her,
we
I like
like
barbecue.
to call it salt, pepper, and ketchup on everything. That's
I
too
did
long.
salt, pepper, and ketchup on everything. Because when you're ordering French fries at the Poppy store, it's salt, pepper, and ketchup.
I'm
Yeah,
a salt
it
and
is.
fry.
It's not just
It
ketchup.
is. But for like simplicity, we call it catch up on everything. And it's a way that you guys can catch up on what we're doing and we can catch you up on what our city is doing and what's going on in our world. And you can tune in with us and let us know what you've been up to. So if you're from Philly or you've been paying attention to the news, we all know what's been going on. It's, the death of Walter Wallace has been traumatic. It was very unfortunate. It was outright crazy and wrong. It's a lot going on. Our city is in an uproar right now.
Yeah,
And we are here. We're here to talk about it. So I guess where I'm coming, I'll start off since I'm starting this anyway. I guess where I'm coming from with it is I feel my eyes welling up just talking about it right now. It's really stressful and it's traumatic watching this stuff. Like my sister showed me him being murdered the day it happened, like a little after it happened. And it's just I know society and the world has become a little desensitized to this stuff, but I'm finding it really hard for me to be desensitized to this stuff because it's just outright wrong. And I don't process it well. I don't like deal with it well. And I know it's other people out there that feel the same way. Like it's just overwhelming watching somebody that you don't even know lose their life and it feels like you lost somebody in your life. Because whether you know it or not, we all are connected, and it's that's just where I'm at. It's very overwhelming for me, and I send mad love out to his family and his friends and his mother, and also I hope that the officer that did that, he can see where he went wrong, and find some love and compassion in his heart as well. But it's a mess, and I'm sure it's a lot on everybody, especially his family. So how y'all been handling this stuff? I know Ashley, you're real Zing, you're real close to the protesting and stuff right now in West Philly.
Right, but so we're so I live pretty close where I can pretty much kind of see and hear almost everything that's going on. Not right, it's not like right in my backyard, but once the helicopters start flying and they're moving out the way and make space for each other, you can hear it. And it's just, for me, what's most difficult is I am highly sensitive. And I feel like I was born and raised here. So much happens all the time. It's like I want to just go on with my day. Like, I hear helicopters, I hear sirens, but I know I still have these children to take care of and things to do. But it's hard. It's hard for me to still try to maintain some type of, like my regular daily everyday doings. And then it's like, on top of it, I'm all trying to make sense of it. I can't imagine how his family feels. He had 9 children, 1 on the way. I heard that his wife was supposed to be induced to have a baby on Wednesday. And I'm sitting up here trying to figure out what exactly is it I'm going to say to my 3 sons. What they hear the helicopters. I can't even pretend nothing's going on. I don't watch the news. It's not blaring in my house, but they hear them. They see them. Like, they can feel the chaos around them. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have yet to have like a real serious sit down with them about, like, what exactly was going on. I really don't almost know what to say.
Right.
Like, or even if I do tell the truth, I don't know how they really going to take that. I mean, of course, my oldest son, pretty much, he's watched the news with my mom, so he knows what's going on. But I do have to talk to them about it, because this is their life too, and I want to try to help them make some sense of it. But it's really confusing me. I'm confused about how to help them make sense of something that doesn't really make sense. I heard that, from reading some of the reports and some of the articles that are being put out, like, his mother called the police more than once that day. That was probably, I think, the 3rd time, for help. He was having a mental health crisis. Now, they're saying it wasn't clear whether or not the police knew that he was having a mental health crisis or whatever. But even when they get on the scene, in some of the videos, especially the one that they're showing in the news, you can see that his mom is there, and kind of like, pleading with them not to shoot him, not to hurt him. Which leads me to,
she was running around him trying to protect him. She was trying to protect him.
So, and I can't imagine how she feels. You call someone for help, and they come and they kill your son. And then I found out afterwards, I don't know where I've been, but I need to climb up from under this rock. But they only had guns. I didn't know that they didn't have any other non-lethal ways to de-escalate the situation until, like, the reports and stuff started coming out. But I was thinking to myself, so y'all didn't come with the right attitude. Y'all didn't come with options.
But the thing is, your body is an option. You have fists, you have strength.
Right.
It was a couple of y'all, and it was one of him and his mother trying to help you as well. You could have used physical force with you could have, detained him with physical force. You didn't have to kill him. They knew they were scared. Like, they were scared. And I feel like we got to get this cowardly mentality out of the police system, because it don't work for Black people. Like, you can't have these white cops in a neighborhood that don't know anything about Black life, and they're just coming in with no idea how to read our mannerisms, read our the way we speak, and they just come in with fear. And that's what happens when fear, takes over. People get hurt.
So I think this kind of creates a layered conversation, just looking at it from a medical perspective for myself. So it's like, I look at it on multiple layers, to try to make sure that from my own standpoint, I'm not biased, but to also, understand too, like you, I have a bleeding heart. So of course, watching any brown person on the news being harmed, I feel like that's my brother. He's 27. He got a family. He looked like me. It's devastating to, again, witness again in this year, another brown person on TV dying. It's devastating. From a sensitive standpoint, like you, Fowles, I feel like I don't watch the news the same as you. I'm saying I don't watch the news because sometimes it's too hard to take in that energy and to have to function. It's like
Right.
sometimes I wish that we could have a mental health day. Like, nope, can't go to work today. Too challenging, can't think about it. But we're often forced to kind of take that energy, find a place to put it, and still be able to function. Which again kind of feeds me back into, if you're having difficulties dealing with this, please reach out to the resources that are there for you. This is a mental health, line that's dedicated for that instance. Looking at it from a mental health standpoint as a nurse, and even looking at it from a place where I, as a nurse, have worked with mental health patients. I've worked in a mental health hospital. I have people in my family who have mental health diagnosis, who have been in crisis. So there's it's layered. From a mental health perspective, working in a mental health hospital, we don't have certain things. It's like, yes, I've been in a mental health hospital where I've been, physically potentially in danger, where I've been spat on, and where, the threat of my physical safety was present. But as medical professionals, we are not provided with weaponry to be able to handle that. You kind of have to learn the skills to de-escalate a situation. I can say, even working as a nurse in those environments, not everybody was as skilled as I was. And I've worked also in some very dangerous environments. I've worked in corrections nursing, where I've had to de-escalate situations with the inmate population, where there was a component of both violence and potential mental health. I'll say in that situation, there were corrections officers who were specifically trained in de-escalation techniques. Not everybody had that same training, but if it was something that you were interested in, you went and you sought out that additional training. Everybody was expected, for the most part, to have a basic level of understanding of how to handle yourself in that situation. But not everybody is an expert. Just like not everybody is gifted with the art of compassion. You can try. Say, oh, I really care about you. Oh, that's what's up. Some people are good at it and some people aren't. So learning your skill set and being able to move from that point is important. I feel like from watching the video, several balls were dropped. Yes, Zing, you mentioned that the officers that showed up at the scene were not trained in any other non-lethal things. They weren't trained in how to use a stun gun. They didn't have them on their persons. The only thing that they had was their firearm. So that in and of itself is okay. That requires some overarching retraining amongst our, police department. If there are officers that do not know how to use non-lethal weapons, they all need to be retrained to have that as an option. I get it from a standpoint of Fowles, you mentioned that, the officers who were present, they were afraid. I do feel like from a community standpoint, we need officers to community police. The officers who are present in the community should be the ones who are actively responding to the community. Mm-hmm. So that, you understand the lingo, you understand the dynamics. If we're policing our own community, then that guy who lives in that house. Wallace's dad, Walter Wallace Sr., and his children and his family. And if you've worked there consecutively for months, years, whatever, you might also be aware that that family or that, person has a mental health history. So it wouldn't be foreign to you. I do get that in certain situations, if you are a new officer, or if from the officer standpoint, maybe he was thinking, listen, this dude has a knife. I'm trying to get home to my family. If you don't have the skill set to be able to maneuver out of that situation or to call for backup, I'm sure, I felt like it was a poor choice on his end from looking at the video, which we'll play for you guys later. I feel like there was enough distance between the officer and, Walter Wallace Jr., peace and blessings be upon him. I feel like there was enough spatial distance between the officer and the individual where he probably did not have to shoot him. He could have just kept backing up to create a safe space for himself, but I'm sure that as
you see what my mom said,
14 bullets. I see. You do not need 14 bullets to subdue a person. You don't.
And I'm sure after the because I know they had body cams. I'm sure after all of that footage comes out as well, and they're finished with the ballistics, they'll be able to kind of navigate who shot who. Because if you see also in the video that was shared by a bystander, there were other officers who were showing up on the scene. I know that in other cities, I think California tried a pilot program in another city down south, where in those situations where there was a mental health crisis, a social worker as well as the police showed up. Because the social worker ideally is trained to be able to handle that situation. And if it is a dangerous situation, the social worker also has a police officer present. I feel like that model could be something that is carried out here in Philadelphia. The hard part, looking at it from a medical standpoint as well, is the city over the last couple of years has actually started to decrease the amount of funding that's dedicated towards mental health, which has created a crisis where a lot of the mental health, individuals that need assistance have actually wound up in the prison system. It's like you have a crisis, you do something wrong, and you wind up in jail. Yes, there are resources in prison for you to get you, stable, but ideally that's not the place for you to go. In my tenure working in prison, I saw more mental health patients there than when I was working, honestly, in a mental health hospital. So that in and of itself is speaking volumes to the resources that are actually needed for that population. So I feel like, yes, there are mental health trainings that a police officer could go through to be able to, better be able to identify the needs. But I also feel like expecting a police officer to be a mental health professional and a cop at the same time might be too much. Being able to pair both together to be able to be a better resource to the community would probably be ideal, because maybe hypothetically the officer didn't know. You're like, oh my goodness, this dude has a knife, he's trying to kill everybody. The last thing maybe in his mind was, maybe he was just thinking threat instead of saying, oh my goodness, this guy.
But it was a butter knife though, right?
I heard
or
that
a pocket knife.
a pocket knife.
I heard it was a butter knife.
I heard initially it was a butter knife, and then I heard it was actually a pocket knife, and then he might have actually tried to stab one of the officers.
But even with that, it's like, all right. So maybe you were thinking threat. What are y'all doing this training? 1, 2. It just seems, from when the video first started coming out. I mean, having a lot of friends and family who live in that area, it wasn't the news where I saw it first. It was all over our personal Instagram and Facebook.
It was on Instagram.
But so it seems very plain and simple to me. That it just looked like, I'll shoot first and ask questions later. Like, you really didn't know what was going on. You just started shooting because you saw this man moving too fast. I don't know. If the police officers in our city are going to be that damn scared and react that way when they're afraid of something and don't know, I
think about it too. Like, I know in the beginning when, I don't know if you guys remember when they first started shutting down the city too. And they were like, when the first set of riots started happening, they had initially put out a message and a memo saying that Philadelphia police officers will not be responding to robberies and to some other things. It was like a list of things that they wouldn't respond to, because the potential for them to come in close proximity with another individual and potentially expose themselves to COVID was a thing. So it was like anything that was going to potentially put them at risk for getting COVID, they were not. So I feel like, I'm not sure if that bled into what happened with Walter Wallace. They're like, listen, if I got to get up on you, then I'm in danger, or what? Who knows what the actual training is for the officers present. I wish that I knew a police officer, but I'll say that the other thing that I think speaks volumes, just looking at it from one of our previous episodes that we posted, where we had, a special guest come on, I think from a community standpoint, we as a community need to be able to have the resources within our community to respond to things like this, instead of necessarily having.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Because that might not be their expertise. So it's like, who can we call so that we don't necessarily have to call?
Need to call you.
Firefighters.
Yep.
Usually the people who respond in that situation, if there's a mental health crisis, is you initially call the police, because if it's that bad, a 302 happens, which is actually a police report, a 302. Mm-hmm. And it's filed with the police precinct in order to get the cops to actually come in the event of a mental health crisis, to actually arrest the person and take them to go get mental health, because it's kind of against their will. So ideally, the first thing that happens is you would go get a 302. You file that with the police department. The police show up and EMS to make sure that the person then goes to get mental health treatment. That's how a 302 happens. So there is a police component that exists even with mental health if it gets to a point where a person needs to be 302. If you voluntarily commit and say, hey, yeah, something's not quite right and I need mental health treatment, you voluntarily sign. But if it's a true crisis where the person doesn't know that they are truly a danger to themselves or others, that's what qualifies a 302. The police are actually involved in that actual filing. So I'm not sure what preemptively happened, like if his mother called the police twice, because that's another part. If in the event, like again, from learning mental health, if a person is in the mental health crisis, let's say the mental health crisis started yesterday, right? So let's say
Right.
that yesterday the person is, going through some turmoil, and you call and you say, hey, I want them to get treatment. The police can come out. The person says, no, I'm not going. The police will leave. You know, if they come out, or if they go get mental health treatment, let's say at 12 a.m. Let's say, yeah, I'm gonna go to the mental hospital and get myself evaluated. Let's say they go 12 a.m. to the mental hospital, right? And they go and get evaluated. The mental health practitioners there say, the person is definitely off, but at this point they don't appear to be a danger to themselves or others, so we're going to let them leave. They then get discharged from the mental hospital, or after seeking out mental treatment, and then they go back home and they're still not quite right. You as a relative would then go through the same process again of calling the police. You call the police, you call and you try and get resources. The police show up, as they do if you call. And the hard part in that situation is, if it's the same day, if they've already went and voluntarily been seen by a mental health practitioner, you can't 302 a person on the same day that they've already been evaluated. So in most situations like that, you have to again wait another 24 hours, or they have to truly be a danger to themselves or others, where you can wholeheartedly prove it so that you can actually get them 302. So even getting those mental health resources for a person that's in crisis has loopholes. So I can really only imagine, I hope that his mother is okay during this process, but I can really only imagine what occurred, the amount of times that she actually reached out to the police for help. Because again, I said that in my practice as a nurse, and also having relatives that have mental health, in their history, is a challenge, because it's not always cut and dry. It's not always cut and dry. And if you don't personally, as a family, have the resources to do anything, because I can imagine if she even reached out to the police, she herself might have been afraid. Because who knows what was happening the 2, 3, or 4 times prior to that she reached out. And I would love to see the full video of what happened, but I really truly feel for her, because I'm sure that this was not the outcome that she was hoping for. But again, I feel like from a medical standpoint, there's an overarching theme that there are more resources that need to be present in the city to be able to help those that are going through difficulties with mental health, especially now in the midst of COVID, because a lot of the resources that were once there and available aren't.
Yeah,
I want to show the video.
Definitely...
I know it's a lot, but I kind of want to show the video so that the audience can see it. I kind of want to close my eyes, but I do feel like it's important for those who may be watching and didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm going to close my eyes. Our producer is going to play a little snippet of what happened the other day with Walter Wallace.
Walter Wallace
Jr. Sorry.
It's okay.
We're having a sound issue.
Technical difficulties. There's no sound.
He was having a mental crisis. Officers repeatedly asking Walter Wallace Jr. to put down the knife. When he continues toward them, they fire some 14 times. Protesters projectiles, setting a police car on fire. 30 officers injured, one of them when this pickup plowed into the crowd. Almost 100 protesters were arrested.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
Thank you, producer. But yes, the city's actually been in an uproar since that happened. They have been setting fire to buildings. They have been setting fire to police cars. I think they set fire,
blowing up ATMs, looting, rioting.
A fire vehicle, like a fire truck. And they've been looting stores, which I get it. I get it from one standpoint, like yes, it is. I get it from one standpoint. I come from a family that has been about protesting. If there's injustice, you go out there, you put on your t-shirt, you carry your flag, and you speak out against the wrong. I also do get from some degree, why people are angry enough to loot and set fire. The LA riots was a real thing, and I get that it's sometimes your spirit is literally boiling and you don't really know what else to do to kind of get your message across. It's like, if you don't know that we are upset, let me show you how upset we are. The challenge within that, I feel like from being a nurse in the city and from also living very close to a lot of essential things. Like I'm not that far from like the axis of where some of this stuff is happening. Like last night or early this morning, I heard an explosion. I said, I know which ATM that was that blew up. It was right over there at the gas station. I'm sure it was that when it was that close. And they've actually been looting drugstores and stores very close to me. The hard part within that though is I live in a community that has a lot of elders. So one of my neighbors, you know, she told me, she said, I was trying to go to the drugstore to get my medications and the drugstore is boarded up. So she said she went to another drugstore and that one is boarded up, and she tried another one and that one also is boarded up. So, you know, within all of this, you know, I get it, you know, but it's also putting a strain on us as healthcare because it's like, you know, trying to go to work or drive to the hospital. It's like my route to the hospital is not that far from one of the police precincts, and they have all of the streets blocked off. So I know for me, you know, occasionally if I'm lucky, I can flash my badge, say, hey, can you let me through? But I can only imagine what that's like for a person that's going into labor or truly experiencing a medical crisis who's trying to get to the hospital.
Right.
So I get it, but I also have worries related to it just from, you know, living here. But I get it. There's layers of like, is it productive?
I mean, get it too, but I also feel like, I don't know if this is going to sound messed up, but I also feel like, why are you dogging your own neighborhood? Like, this is where you live. These are the stores you have to go to. These are the places that your grandparents have to get their medicine from. This is where you need to get your hair supply. Wherever it is that you need to get, this is your neighborhood that you're dogging out. And I'm not saying like go to the gentrified neighborhoods and dog them out. I'm not saying that. But
I'm not saying it either.
Why are you dogging out where you live at? Why are you dogging out where you dogging out black-owned businesses?
Because it would take too much to catch a bus and a train to go to somebody else's neighborhood.
Right.
To dog out.
And so
I don't know, man.
We talked a lot about this year. This looting and rioting. I know people don't really get it. It's kind of like the same thing I see when I'm at work. There's a child, you know, they're having some type of struggle internally, or you know, like with external triggers maybe, and they're like going around the classroom and they're snatching all the decorations we done put up off the wall. It's not that they don't care about their classroom. It's not that they hate me or the other student. They are at an unrest, and they need help. They need help. They don't need me to. Yeah, they want to be heard. They need to be seen. Something's going on here. It's not just I don't care and I just want to tear it up. It's just like this is a symptom of, you know, like a larger issue. We're talking about the rioting, and don't get me wrong, it looks crazy. Like, you know, I didn't go food shopping before this happened, so like I get.
Looks like a hurricane hit the city. It looks like a hurricane's happening.
Right.
It's boarded up like it's a hurricane.
But this is a symptom of, you know, a much larger situation. Okay, people are looting and rioting. First of all, these people usually they're in their own neighborhood and they can't usually afford the stuff that they need anyway. And then when they do have money and they spend all their money at these stores and the poppy stores, the convenience stores, let them fall on hard times. You can't walk into the store usually and say, hey, you know, this week I don't have no money. Can I have some bread and eggs? They look at you crazy. So in a way, they, you know, like the people who are rioting are not the peaceful protesters. They're two different sets of people. But I do get why people take the opportunity, not that it's right, to do things like that. And the rioting and the protesting is a symptom of a much larger situation. Like, okay, a man died. For what? Why? Like, you know, like how many more times is this going to, you know, is this going to happen? We're not out here upset and peacefully protesting because we ain't had shit else to do today. A lot of us are trying to figure out where we getting money from anyway during this pandemic. Like, you know, we need to be doing other more productive things. I will
also say that in the midst of even the riots, it has been said and shown that some of the people actually
sorry guys,
starting the riots are actually not even from the neighborhood. There have been some people who are traveling into the city to start a ruckus.
Placing bricks in front of stores,
right.
Like giving people stuff to throw at stuff.
which sucks, but I understand the unrest. I do. I understand it.
I'm gonna tell y'all
I
this right
feel,
now. I don't mean to cut you off. I have 3 sons. If I call for help like that and somebody killed my child right in front of me when I'm asking you for help, I'm not. I will hope that. I'm gonna just say this. I can't promise that I wouldn't be so upset and enraged that I wouldn't be setting the city on fire from end to end. That doesn't even make any sense.
I mean,
What happened?
personally, I can see from having been in the situation where police have been called because someone I know has been in crisis. I can see where things could have went terribly wrong. I can see it. And if I reflect back on 15 years, I can see where at least in 5 situations things could have went terribly wrong. And I feel like in those situations, the only reason why it didn't was the people who were present. That's, the people who were present and God's good grace, because things could have went terribly wrong. So I get it. I do. I get it. I get it on from multiple avenues. I get it.
I guess what I would say is because we do have to move on from this. This is our catch up on everything. This is one segment. We've been on it for a while, but it is something that needs to be sat on for a while. We, as a community, we do have to figure this stuff out. But what I want to know from y'all, Jawns, is what piece of advice do you want to leave the community after this conversation? What do you think that we can do to try to move forward from stuff like this and to end things happening like this to our people?
I'll say 1, creating community resources.
Right.
When you're voting, vote for people who are about putting resources back into the community that are dedicated towards mental health. 2, advocating for retraining of these officers so that they know how to use non-lethal weapons to diffuse situations such as this. Even in the midst of crowd control, which I'm going to also backtrack a little bit. I know we said we were moving on, but there are peaceful riots that are happening in the city that have the potential to turn violent because the officers that are showing up don't know how to do crowd control appropriately.
Right.
It's like you can show up to a protest and be present as an officer without things escalating. You just kind of have to understand that the people who are here are upset and hurt. And if you too see yourself as a member of the community and not, as fighting the opposition, then you can talk and deal with the community even though you're wearing a uniform. So again, retraining of the officers, creating community resources in place, definitely pouring more funding into mental health in the city is essential, and creating a pilot program like those other ones that have worked, which will provide a social worker or a mental health professional to show up in these situations with an officer to be able to provide resources. Maybe even having a dedicated line instead of 911 to call it a mental health emergency. So it could be 411, 511, 711, whatever, which is just exclusively the mental health line. So whoever's on the other end of that phone says, oh, you're in a mental health crisis. Well, we're going to send over the mental health expert team, which is composed of a mental health trained officer, social worker, nurse, whatever, so that they know what they're getting into. I feel like that's important, which can definitely help to eliminate some of this. And also for those that are, I feel like there also needs to be more family supports for people who do have a relative that does have a mental health issue.
I agree with you.
Or mental health diagnosis. Because within the city right now, I know that NAMI was a great place. There were a lot of great resources at one time that no longer exist. So for, his mother or for his wife or for his family, if they were filled with the tools to be able to know what to do, to be able to maybe de-escalate the situation a little bit more before they called the police or whatever. This is all me hypothesizing. But I do feel like being able to pour into a family as much information related to mental health as you possibly can, so that since they're the first ones to be able to deal with their loved one, is important. So it's from point of diagnosis, bring in all your relatives, let's discuss it. Here's what you can do if a crisis happens. I feel like that is an important component in a situation like this.
And going off of what you just said, I feel like mental health needs to be taken as seriously as like physical health, because
Really?
like just like one of my family members used to get sick, they had diabetes, and like when he would have one of his diabetes attacks, we would know, everybody would know what to do. Get him some sugar, do this, blah blah blah, call the, it was like the whole thing that we knew we had to do. And it's like if people had that same checklist with people who have mental issues in their family, it would relieve a lot of these types of situations. Just educating families, not just Black families, but families all over the world, of what to do when you're in these situations, because they can go really bad. People do act really crazy when they have mental health issues, and sometimes it can seem like your life is in danger, but there are ways to de-escalate the situation. And if we all were a little more educated on that, it can make things a little bit easier and safer for everybody involved.
Right. So to pull on some of the things you both said, you both have reiterated more than once that having your family in on helping whoever it is, whoever the family member is, or you know, the person in your life who's having the mental health issues, you know, like to be a support for them.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa Lagu, for your comment. Yeah,
thank you. And me being a parent and working with young children for a few years now, I also want to say to hey June, to parents and caregivers, don't be afraid to get support for your family or your children. Like I know a lot of people, like in our community, it's still frowned upon. Like, oh, you know, they still push it off to the side. If they see their child is having a struggle, they'll try to like, I don't know, you know, like wait it out and say like, oh, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Yes, we do need to allow our children time to grow and mature, but it's no harm in having support for them along the way, for ourselves to help support them adequately and to, you know, teach them how to keep their mental health in check, like you said. So getting education for the families, like you guys can, you know, like try to look for ways to teach yourselves to hold it together, like you said, Foz.
Yeah, I mean, it's good because I mean, a lot of this stuff starts from when you're a child. Like a lot of this stuff shows up when you're a child. I know some stuff, like sometimes like bipolar 1, it might not show up till you're like 20 something, but a lot of these mental health issues, you can see signs of them when kids are little, and if they don't get the proper help, it could just grow bigger into a bigger problem. So you're right. Shout out to all the mom Johns who have children with mental health issues and they're on top of it and they're getting help with it. And if you aren't, take this as a note that you're not alone. There are people out there who are with you and are going through the same thing, and there is help out there. There is help everywhere.
It's hard to find it at times, but
it's hard. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard. It's messed up.
That's the sad part, but it is.
But it is out there. You got to do the work. And
is there any way we can look at some of the comments? I know there was one from a lady.
I did see one.
Yeah, I don't know how producer you could you, is there any way you could show some of the comments, because we got a couple while we were talking about that.
Yeah. I did read June's. I think that June, you do make a good point to a degree. I feel like the fact that you might have a white officer who's not from the community, you know, you run in, and for the most part, if you have not been exposed to our culture as a people and you watch too much TV, you would initially maybe think that all brown people are dangerous. You know, that's why I feel like community policing is important. If you're in this neighborhood, integrated into this neighborhood, if you're invested in this neighborhood, you know what this neighborhood is, then you don't feel afraid. You're like, oh, you know,
we need to be some more supportive
of our community and not judgmental.
You know what? It's crazy because I think society needs, and this could segue into our next thing, needs a redecoration mentally of how they look at brown people, because it's so, just being a brown person, it is so wild that white people are scared of us.
Not all white people.
It blows my mind.
Not all white people, you have to say that, but they do have a tendency to portray.
Not all white people. I'm sorry.
They do have a way of portraying us in TV, movies, even on the news. You know, especially brown men, as being threatening and scary. Yeah, and that is not true.
And I do feel like I don't want to say Hollywood, but I do feel like Black
Maybe
people
the most
in
effective
the
devil in America.
TV industry are trying to portray us in different ways. Like we have a lot of powerful Black movies coming out with Black people being portrayed in I don't know, magical ways or
Thank you, Chadwick Boseman.
strong
Peace
and stuff like that.
brother.
What you say?
Peace and blessings to Chadwick Boseman.
Yes,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
We are making strides, but I just wish that there was like a button that we could press to just so people can actually see us for who we are and not this scary being. But I think I don't know. Yes, and they are doing it on purpose. Oh yeah.
Media.
This is I mean, obviously we need to have an actual episode on this topic because it is fiery in our souls, it's fiery in the world right now. It needs to be talked about. And definitely on the mental health stuff that needs to be talked about, especially in America, because we don't have a lot of support with that. But we do have to move on to our next segment.
Can I say this?
Oh, yes.
There's just one thing. This reminds me of a movie that I really like that talks about just media being the most effective devil in America. It's called Wag the Dog, where it actually talks about media manipulation and how they make things look a certain way. It's an old movie, but it's called Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog.
Wag the Dog. Okay, we'll link that below. I want to watch that.
Wag the Dog. Great movie.
Is it on Netflix?
I'm not sure. I know you can buy it on like YouTube.
Okay.
The Dog.
Cool. So
I can share with you.
On a lighter note, we're gonna move on into our next segment, which is called Adulting. Because that is what we all are doing. If you're watching this episode, you are probably on your way to adulting, in the middle of adulting, or trying to
take a break from it.
Trying to take a break. Trying to find an adultier adult to ask questions about.
Yeah, or an adult to take over your adulting so that you don't have to adult no more.
Right.
So
just for a little bit.
Us Lotus Jawns, we have been being really creative this past week in our adulting, and I like to take some credit for that.
No, I'm not giving you anything.
I like to take some credit for that. Our medical John Leak, she started painting over her kitchen. Our adulting, what we're going to talk about is decorating and rehabbing our homes, because that is something that sometimes you have to do as an adult. You want your space to look nice, and if it doesn't look nice, you want to rehab it so that it does.
That's true.
So I figured during this segment we could talk about our what we've been doing in our house. And 2 weeks ago, I told the medical John, I was like, I'm gonna help you redo your kitchen. I was like, I'm gonna help you paint, and it's gonna be so dope.
Now.
And Leek was like, she was like, no, I don't really want to do it, and maybe I should. She was on the fence at first.
So here's the difficult part. One, I wanted to do this for a while, but there were some layers of I'll just say layers, right? It did take some coaxing to do, which I'll definitely give you credit.
That's what I want to take credit for. That
I give you some credit. Also,
I got you on the bandwagon.
Also, one of my other friends has actually been very instrumental in me moving forward in this creative process. Amira. Thanks. Boo.
Yes, Amira.
Yes,
Amira was helping us out at Home Depot. What we were doing.
But initially too, the creative John Files or
the other way.
That way. The other way.
Was like, let's record this. And I'm like, I don't want to record this for people to watch what I'm doing. Mind you, for two reasons.
I'm setting up the lights, as I'm asking her, as I'm setting up the
she's like, yeah, we're going to record this. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, yeah, we'll have some great footage of how you repainted things. And I'm like, no, I got paint over here. I look like I don't care. It was serious. But as things kind of started to evolve, I was like, wow, it actually looks like I put some love into this. And I was putting positivity in there with each roll. I'm like, all right,
it looks nice,
warm and welcoming. Make
did a good job
here. Affirmations with each roller stroke. So yeah, it's looking great. I did send a couple clips of what I did to Files, and
And we will have a little Instagram, or I'm gonna make a little Instagram video
maybe
of our adventure in May's kitchen.
but it really started spiraling to other things. I done painted the cabinet. I bought a Giovanni's kit to redo the countertops, so I'm gonna paint it so that it either looks like limestone or marble. It's taking longer than I anticipated, but it's kind of cute now. But it's not done. It's probably gonna take me another 3-4 days to make it look like the picture. But I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on it. From that too, there was like a little like leak that leaked into the wall right near my shower. I like demoed that.
She did that, y'all.
I bought.
She got the drywall. She did.
I did. I bought sheetrock myself. I cut it out.
I would have knocked the whole wall
I
down.
screwed it into the wall. I like plastered that joint, put the tape on it. You know, right now I still need to sand it, but I was so proud of myself because I was all the way a girly girl. Like, what? You gotta lift that? Do what with it? What are we doing? But I'm really proud of myself. I feel like I put a lot of positive energy into that, adulting in a different way. Like, did that, sis. Then I had the toilets replaced, changed the shower head. I'm showering different. It's nice. It's nice. These are the benefits of adulting in the right way. It's like, what? You could change the shower head. Now, granted, I did not know how to do that, but the fact that I was able to call an adultier adult to switch that out, I felt really proud of myself. Like, I bought all of the supplies myself. I didn't know that a toilet weighed 100 pounds, so I learned a lot of things because I thought that I could just go buy one, pick it up, and put it in my trunk. Nope, I didn't.
June said, yes, sis.
It was real. Thank you, June. It was real. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get 2 toilets. I got the little cart thing at Lowe's, and I was like, I went to the aisle and I picked them out, and I was like, oh, let me just pick this box up. Sis. I was so happy that little Lowe's guy came by. He's like, do you need assistance? I said, yeah, can you put 2 of these on that thing? I don't even know how to put the front. But then I had a bidet installed. Hashtag you should get a bidet. Everybody should have one. Everybody.
I have one. Thanks, Mom, John, Nicole, for buying
my
housewarming
the only one who doesn't have one?
I'll let you use mine. It's okay. But you should get a bidet. Everybody should wash.
Everybody needs it in their life.
What?
Sandproof your area before.
I know it's really bad. That's why I haven't done it yet, because I literally destroyed the bathroom as I was doing that little bit of demo. And the hole that I made in the wall was probably only about this big, but it literally made the bathroom look like I had, tore out a really big wall. And I still feel like there's small sand particles in the corners, but I'm like really proud. I am. So I'm going to paint different rooms. I'm going to make those rooms a meditation room for sure. My friend Amira has inspired me to do like a home theater. That's probably going to be downstairs. It's cool. I'm excited. So maybe when I'm done, you guys can see what I've done, but I don't know yet. Because I'll be looking so crazy in the mix.
I'll make sure you see it.
Well,
I didn't sign any waiver.
Well, we already have the footage, and I'm here, so I can just get some.
Yeah.
We
got you, Lee.
So with that being said, like I know
telling the producer. They done muted y'all mics. I don't know what y'all talking about. What?
He's on our side.
What?
Listen. He's on our side today.
But no, maybe I will let you.
Fives is always DIY, and I feel like you addicted to it a little bit.
You know what? I think what my thing is, I'm addicted to perfectionism. Like I like everything to look perfect. Like I lived with my grandma for a little bit when I was younger, and she was a Virgo, and she is very Virgo. Her house was spotless. It always looked very, very clean. Everything was always in order. And my mom is low key kind of like that too. She got her house usually looks pretty dope. So I just grew up in like.
I laugh because my mom's a Virgo.
So I grew up in like really clean, neat, pretty looking spaces. So as an adult, I like for my house, like you can see in my background, like I got like Tinker lights and my sheets are cute. I got like some, I don't know, some paintings on the wall or whatever. But my new project that I'm working on, my adulting project, is hooking up my my office space, because right now, like it's right over here, but right now I have like, I'm a notebook freak. So I have like my old notebooks, I got my new notebooks, I got my laptop, my music stuff. So what I wanted to do was put up some shelves to kind of organize
Keep
my
it
books,
organized.
just to get some of the clutter off the actual desk up top. So I'm gonna make it's, you know what, I'm gonna say it because it's gonna come to y'all. I'm gonna make a Lotus Jawns video about me redoing my space and how to redo your office space. Just little knickknacks and things you could buy to kind of organize your office space. But that's my adulting thing I'm going on, besides trying to constantly keep my house clean. Because I don't know how my grandma did it. Like, I don't know how she
without
did
stressing out.
and I never really, like, I saw her washing the dishes, but I never really saw her clean. I think she just like picked up everything after us, like right after we used it. I think she put it away. So I haven't gotten that down as an adult, putting things away when I get done.
Organizer this week. That was like, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Wait, what?
I brought refrigerator organizer drawers. That has been like,
oh yeah,
it looks really cute. My refrigerator looks like a TV refrigerator. It's like, oh
yeah,
grapes in there. Oh.
Yeah, it's nothing like an organized fridge. Yeah. But yeah, my dream life is like having everything organized and everything looking perfectly cute all the time. But
all the time, come on,
all the time. But I live with an adult man. I have a dog.
That makes it different sometimes.
And his adult friends come over, my adult friends come over, and the house becomes a mess. And there's the cycle. So that's my adulting this week, is trying to redo my office space and keeping my house clean. Jawns.
So is it my turn now?
Yes, it's your turn, Mom Jawns. What's your house been like?
It looks like I want to move and just leave everybody and everything there. So I know a few weeks ago we had kind of like, we were talking about DIY, and they actually got to it. I was just like, you know what? I don't feel like doing it. But now that I've been in your spaces a little bit and seen like a little bit of like what it does to the what a little bit of a lift does to the space, I'm like, okay, I have to. You know, I've been living in my space for a while now, and we've had the same color paint themes in the common areas, and it's starting to feel a little sane asylum-y to me. And being in there and having kids yelling random things, I'm like, at this point in the pandemic, I think I really need to like put this plan in place. I know before we had talked about they were supposed to help me paint, guys.
Yeah, you didn't know I knew how to paint. I told you I could paint.
You actually are really good at painting.
I'm excellent at painting.
So with your precision in painting, and
I realize I'm sloppy at painting.
You're terrible.
But with your direction, I'm pretty sure we can get somewhere. And what I realized
get us motivated though.
So I can tell y'all what to do.
What to do. She keeps us on point. But I need you to take a nap so you can keep me on point in the middle of the night when everybody else is asleep. Right. The next thing you know, we just gonna have handprint marks in the paint.
What'd you say?
You have a bedtime pose.
I do. I do.
So, my plan is to put some paint in some of the, especially the living room, because like the living room is, it's a living room, and now it's the classroom / lounge / whatever else, and it's the first room. Like, you know how, so you guys don't know, but when you come in the front doors, you walk right into the living room. It's open space. It's like the first room you see, and if that room looks a hot mess, it just saddens my heart. I don't know if you guys judge me when you come in, but I feel like people are judging me like, huh.
Mind you, Ashley's house always look clean as shit. She always think it look dumb. Like, dude, this is pretty neat.
My mom might not think so. My mom is not a Virgo, but I think
I don't think your mom would think any of our houses.
I know we getting into like astrology and signs, but I don't know what it's like to live with a Virgo parent. But the Leo mom,
it's serious.
It's extra super serious.
Mom's a Virgo. It's serious.
My mom would never admit it, but I'm pretty sure that one time she did ask me to remove my shoes before I entered her house. Like, let me in first. Like, she always wants things neat and neat and in place, which is, it's always
camera
clean
ready
when I go there. No matter what time of day you pop up at my mama's house, you can eat off the floor.
Mm-hmm. You can lick the floor from end to end.
The floor is the problem. Like, I aspire to be that neat and clean. If I get there, I just want to be 75% good on her, like on how she does it.
Just to give y'all an idea what Ashley's mom is like. Her mom, thank you, Ms. Wander, for giving me that Christmas tree. That Christmas tree gave me life, and it's gonna keep giving me life. But I came over to get the Christmas tree, and her mom, I was only just walking in to pick the box up and walk back
She don't
out.
care unless she's levitating.
I accidentally walked in there with my shoes on, and she made me put hospital
shoe covers. She's serious.
Footsies on.
She did serious.
And then I walked out with him, and I walked back in. She was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you?" So yeah, Ashley's mom, she's real. Yeah,
she's serious about her space.
Really
so I don't know.
Appreciate it, but it is. It's real.
Even if Leak doesn't let you get if we don't get the footage of her, please, we can probably show them what it would look like. The DIY process at mine, because I need your help with organizing files. I have all these little boxes and bags to organize things. I have done nothing.
I need to start a business because I already got an appointment in my mom's house to organize her mail and stuff. I'm like, I need to be like the organizing John.
I feel like the best thing I learned from organizing is make sure that you have all the tools to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything needs its own place. You should definitely get a shredder if you don't have one. Because I feel like one of the biggest things I realized as an adult is we have more paper than we will ever need. You know, shred it. You know, and
none of the stuff that comes in the mail is letters from my friends. I don't even want it.
Yeah. I realized too as an adult, there's more mail that comes that has important information on it. Then I'm like, I can't just throw that in the trash. But just shred things. Shredding is life. Yes, shred all the little papers. You don't need them. That's the first step.
So that's kind of how us Johns have been adulting in our real lives.
How about a
commercial? I think we've been doing good at it.
How about a commercial?
Yeah, we will be right back, y'all. We have to take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back with our last two segments. So take a breather, go get something to drink, go do some jumping jacks, get your blood flowing, and we'll be right back.
The Lotus Jawns going through the journey strong. Life's a hustle and a bustle. We'll be with you all along. The Lotus Jawns, yeah, sometimes we get it wrong. That's a beauty and a lesson. Keep it going, you belong. So you are a powerful Jawn. You are a powerful Jawn.
All right, welcome back, y'all. After that long break, Medical John will be right back in. So now there she is. Here she comes. And we're loading. Hey, Medical John. You weren't up there at first. We didn't see you at first. I was like, she's loaded. So our next segment is called Feeling Myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Feeling myself. So this segment is when us Johns, we talk about what we've been using to take care of ourselves, like what we've been doing to take care of ourselves, because we all know that self-care is an everyday thing. It is not a fad. It is not something that comes and goes. It is something that is with you for your entire life. That's why this is a segment in our episodes for now on, because we have to stay connected with ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So we'll talk about what we've been doing over the past week or two and what new things we found out or new little tips that we have for you guys. So I guess I'll go first because I'm talking already. So this week on Feeling Myself, what I've found out is that I've been doing this whole thing. I know last week we talked about The Secret in a book that I've read and Leek recommended me read, and it's been changing my life. But what I've also realized in addition with that book is that you can have all the hope in the world and you can set all the intentions in the world, but if you don't put any action behind it, nothing's going to happen. So I feel like in these past couple of weeks, I've been just getting more clear on what I want my life to look like, what I want my relationship to look like, what I want to think of when I look at myself. And I've been setting all these intentions and I've been building myself up, and I'm realizing now I'm to the point where I have to put some action behind it. Like if I do want to start this little business, this is what I'm going to have to do. If I do want to write more, this is what I'm going to have to do. And I've been realizing that I have to make certain plans to kind of make that stuff manifest. And because having the thought, it's like the beginning of the manifestation, but you have to see it through in order for it to like really be something. And I think that that's something that I really soaked in over the past couple of weeks. It's like I can't just be sitting on my lawn saying, send me money, send me more money, all of the monies you have. But I have to like take some action into it. And that's what I've been doing as far as self-care, is like making plans for what I actually really want to do and making like real steps that are doable to see that stuff out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's my little quarter, 50 cents.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Thank you for sharing. I have been doing absolutely nothing.
I know that's right.
No, it's not right. I know that. Let's go with, I know that's wrong. So I have all of these, things that I need to be doing. I know I had to put action behind them and all of that. I am really been affected by. So I had, I had to sit down and talk to myself. I think. So what's today? Thursday. So yesterday, maybe it was yesterday, the day before. Still trying to take time and just sit with myself and say, just not. Sometimes I do talk to myself, just check in with myself, like what's going on. I'm like, you ain't doing nothing. Like I do generally have a hard time getting to the things that I need to do, but it's just been super hard lately. When I realized it's this like the weather is really affecting me. This it's getting dark super early. It's like 6 o'clock and it feels like it's 10:35, or the sun is not coming up as early as I need to get up. So I'm up at what? So I'm gonna say this. I'm supposed to be up at 6, but it's not. So with that being said, I'm not getting up to do anything, and I'm not doing anything because I'm not even. I know that I'm not feeling getting up. So I did talk to a special friend of mine, and we came up with the idea. This is supposed to. I actually try to do like things for myself to care for myself. I'd like to do things to care for myself without spending so much money, because it's something I need to do all the time. But this week, I am going to be purchasing. I actually have it in my cart on Amazon. A light therapy alarm clock. To help me get up in the morning to start my self-care routines, because that's what's really been like blocking me. I've not been able to get out of bed, and now it's been going on for 2 weeks. I'm starting to see everything shift and slide. But I know when I'm up in the morning and I'm journaling, I'm thinking about what it is I need to be doing, and I'm coming up with the plan, and I'm like, up pumping myself and getting motivated. I can can't get everything done in the day, but I can at least, like you said, get, kind of point yourself in the right direction and get started. But I ain't getting started because I ain't getting up. So I'm about to spend the best $37 ever on this light therapy alarm clock. So I think it's by Philips or somebody like that, but I feel like it's $37 well spent. The reviews were good on it, and it's something I've never tried in my my self-care routines. And I feel like over the summer I had way better time, getting up and taking care of myself. The sun was up with me, but this has to happen, and I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. That sounds really cool. I would like to wake up to some nice sunlight or fake sunlight or whatever it might be.
The kids keep asking me why am I waking them up in the middle of the night, and I'm looking at them like don't make this harder. It is time to get up to go to school, and they're not believing me, and I don't want to it's just been weird. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So
yeah, I can't wait to hear about how that work out. How about you, Medical John? What you been up to?
By Saturday.
I kind of like what you said, Mom John, that you've been giving yourself the wiggle room to do whatever. Because I feel like that's where I started last week. It was like, I don't feel like it. I might feel like it. I may or may not be productive, make a list, not make a list, get up on time, sleep late. I was giving myself the wiggle room to just be. And I feel like that kind of helped with this week. I did a lot of just being, and then I feel like this week I've kind of been going in the order of operations. Like, so I did my hair. That was self care.
It looks so nice.
Thank you. I made my own hair oil with olive oil, 2 different types of olive oil, amla oil, fenugreek seeds, henna, shea butter. I'll write the recipe down here somewhere. But I was like, you know what? I need to pour into my self care because I want my hair to touch my belly button. And if I don't pour into it, love it, and drink water and take vitamins, then it won't grow. So that's where I started. From there, I installed a new shower head. So that's been nourishing my body as I've been showering daily. I did buy some new fancy soap. So while I was in there, I'm enjoying the lather and scent. And this week too, I also did some uterine massage. So I've been focusing on my womb health too. I bought a castor oil set to do like castor oil packs to kind of help with just like my womb health. So yeah, there's that. Uterine massage, talking to my ovaries, doing castor oil.
Shout out to the medical John for
pedicure this week too. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that.
Yeah, shout out to the medical John for explaining to me what a castor oil pack does. I had never heard of that or what it does for cramps and stuff like that. That's amazing.
Yes, uterine massage is also really great for cramps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess thank you all, including myself, for catching y'all up on what we've been doing for self-care. And last but not least, our last segment, we like to leave you off with a little bit of inspiration.
A little bit of instant inspo.
Instant inspo. Check them shoulders going. So this is when we just leave you with either a quote or something that kind of uplift us during the week. Just anything that kind of boosts our mood or anything during a week. So I won't go first because I went first the other couple of times. But which one of y'all Jones want to go?
I'll go first because I'm
yes,
the
Mom
John. The youngest John. So I have been feeling really.
Wait, you're not the youngest John.
Youngest John. I was about to say that. You're definitely.
I'm not the youngest John.
No,
you're not the youngest John.
I'm the youngest John.
You sure are.
That's serious.
All right, young boy. All right, so listen. So here recently I've been feeling really guilty about not getting up and like doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I've been beating myself up. So I found this quote when I made a vision board.
Yes, you did.
Creative John made a vision board a few weeks ago, and I was just like, it seems cool, but I don't want to sit there all day and cut and paste. Shoot, I'm doing that anyway in the pre-K 2nd and 5th grade with these kids. But
same time.
It actually was a really good practice. I think I got to do a little bit of what you said you did, Fiz. Like kind of think about what exactly is what you want to do, how you're going to put some fire under your butt, what steps are you going to take to do it. And there was this quote I came across in one of the magazines, and it says, "Every day is an invitation to share your light with the world." It just for me it reminded me that, all right, so yesterday didn't go as well as you planned it. But today is a new day. Share the light that you have with everyone else. That was something that was inspiring for me.
I like that quote. Say it one more time.
Every day is an invitation to share your light with the world.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know who said it because I think I cut the name off.
It's fine.
But
that's okay.
Thank you, whoever you are.
Yes.
How about you, Medical John?
I feel like this week's a reoccurring theme for me. It's not a quote, but I've just been reminding myself that we're all puzzle pieces, that we're all a little broken, that we all have, different strifes and struggles that we've been through, but we have the ability to fit in with each other if we mold ourselves in the right way. So really just allowing for the brokenness in other people to not throw me off. It's like, everybody has their burdens and their worries and their strifes.
That's hard though.
And it's not always their fault of how they react. It's just we're all going through a healing process. And it's possible to do it together if you're on the same plane. So we're all broken, but we're puzzle pieces.
I like that.
Heal the world, make it a better place.
All right,
He's
young
been
Joy.
raised
Yes, all right, young Joy.
if you care enough for the living.
Take it away, Creative Jones.
Make a better world for you and for me.
I like it.
So my instant inspo,
That's 3 pages. This is instant inspo. Why you want 3
How
pages?
many pages was that? Hold on, sis.
no, they're all notes. Hold on. Where did I write it down at?
See, it's got to be instant. It's
Oh,
not
found it.
Okay.
Okay, instant. Here we go. So my quote that I found, and this rang with, I don't know, it made me feel good because sometimes I put so much pressure on myself to be perfect. I was about to say to stay perfect, even though I am perfect. I put so much pressure on myself to be perfect that I don't kind of let myself enjoy where I've come, because I know you guys out there don't know me that well, but the Jawns do. My mom watching does. I've been through a lot and I've come a really far way, and I feel really comfortable where I'm at right now, and I do feel really happy. And this quote, it says, "I am at peace. Everything is," it's not a quote, it's actually like a little affirmation. "I am at peace. Everything is falling into place." And it really rang true with me, because I feel like now that I've set my intentions and figure out what I wanted to manifest, I have to just like play my part and do what I have to do to make it come into light. And everything is fine and everything is going the way that it should go. And I'm exactly where I need to be. Even like being on this live with y'all right now, I'm exactly where I need to be, and everything is okay, and everything is going to be okay. And that's kind of where I've been at. But yeah, I got a lot out of what y'all said. That was yeah, I think we all left everybody with a little instant inspo. And,
I hope the producer thinks so.
What'd you say?
I hope the producer likes our instant inspo, as he calls
I
it.
know.
Instant
So I guess
that means yes. We got a triple blink.
That might be it for the Lotus Jawns today. We've went through all our segments. I hope we left y'all with a lot of like good juicy information and ways to keep yourself inspired and ways to take care of yourself. And to close out, I guess in our normal Lotus Jawn fashion, we'll end with our affirmation. Yep. Y'all Jawns ready?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I am.
Let's take a nice deep breath, because we talked about a lot of stuff today. We
a lot of heavy stuff.
Low, we went sideways. Let's take a nice deep breath to settle us all back down and recenter. So, in through your nose. Though my heart may be heavy from the current climate,
I trust that my future is in my hands and that my voice is powerful.
And that I can be an advocate for social change.
I am a powerful Jawn. All right.
Peace,
you guys
Jawn.
are powerful Jawns too. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. And we got another episode coming out next Wednesday. Every other Wednesday, we got an episode coming out, and every other Thursday, we go live. You can catch us here. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, check out our Instagram page. Check out our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook. If there's any questions you may have, comment below.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.
All right, peace, Jawns. You're a powerful Jawn. Go be powerful in the world.
Oh, she dipped.